Greetings, everyone. This is Virtuous Roots, where we reclaim virtue to bring it to our home and yours. And I'm Thomas McCuddy.
And I'm Thomas Quackenbush.
I'm Nick Wiegand, and today's discussion is going to be loving your neighbor online. So it is
I like that last part. Online.
online. Well, it's probably. I mean, I don't. When it comes to social media, I'm more of a lurker than I am a talker. I don't post a whole lot, and I think the main reason is this. I think we are absolutely, completely, 100% out of control with the way we treat each other online. Because most of the time, you just get punched in the mouth if you talk the way somebody's face that you talk online. I know this is a Christian program; we don't talk like that, but let's be honest.
There are places in the world where that would end up happening.
That would absolutely happen, right?
People would not tolerate it. Yeah.
So I do want to reference Mark 12:30 and 31. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind, and with all of your strength. The second is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. And so as we begin this, one of the I don't even think we need to narrow it down to any particular type of post, but we use on this online arena as a way to vent and the way to say the things that we desperately want to say to people's faces, but we get big and bold behind a keyboard and a screen where nobody can see us.
Mm-hmm.
So some people just use it as a mechanism to get things out, but what's the real damage that is done when we treat each other poorly online?
You can't take the things. I mean, you can delete a post, but people could screenshot.
Well, you can't anymore because now it's all captured and backed up, and so you can think you deleted a post, but if you look in the deep dark recesses of the web, there are backups of those said posts.
I think it's one of those, like, for our listeners who maybe not who aren't tech savvy. One thing I've always tried to communicate to teenagers, adults, everyone else: when it goes on the web, it's forever.
It is.
There's
forever.
An element. It is forever, and so you've got.
I think there's a lot of politicians it's happening right now that they're realizing very quickly that something they deleted 10 years ago was backed up and is coming to light.
Well, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there's things that appeared on websites, appeared out there that are being brought back up.
Yeah.
And there's an element, if you have one bad moment, like if I have a falling out with somebody, we exchange some words, later on we can forgive each other, but that was just between us. Mm-hmm. But when you've done that online, number one, it's for the world. They see that. And I think what it also does, the greatest damage is to ourselves in the sense the habits we're creating. Mm-hmm. We are cultivating vices when we lean into those anger and malice. And to be clear, snark is not a spiritual gift. And there's a lot of snark. I'm not saying that about you specifically. I could, but I'm not saying about you specifically.
Not online. I don't do it online. At least I do it to people's faces.
Hey,
I'm joking. This is going to go south real quick.
Yes, it is. No, but there's this element because since we've already established in other episodes, you and I have been raised in the same generation. There is that element of you watch on the TV. I know we're laughing about this, but there's that element. We were taught through the sitcoms this biting humor, this snark, and to basically say what we want, say it creatively. Ooh, we
say whatever you want if you can make it funny.
Right. And it's in the sitcoms, all these things were always said for everyone else.
Yeah.
For the laugh track that's there. And I feel like social media, that for many of us, that's what it's become. It's for the funny, for look at me and look at what I did. But what you've done is you're just like when I was watching those sitcoms as a child and cultivating those habits because I'm watching this and I'm doing this. Now with social media, I have the chance to practice. And there's no restriction. I can just rove around. And the temptation is very real because I'll experience this when I want to see what's going on with my friends. I want to look at like the news. I want to see what's happening there. And then I see somebody post something that's just absolutely either wrong or malicious or whatever it is. And I just get angry. And I look at this and I'm like, and I'll catch myself. I'll start doing the keyboard warrior thing. And like, okay, I'm going to set this record straight. And I'm like, stop. Rule number 1, do not post when you're angry. like some practical advice for families, practical advice, because again, kids are eventually going to get social media. I know this, my kids don't have social media right now, but they're going to have access one day. They're going to have this in their lives. And there's even jobs where you're supposed to, like, there's professors, they have to get on the social media. They have to share things with the university. Like, this is, sometimes it's a part of your job.
Well,
you need to learn how to do this well.
As a business owner, I'm supposed to do it, and sometimes I force myself, and then I'll just drop off the face of the earth for 6 months because I just hate posting. But then I look around, and there's the Mike Wingers of the world, or Red Pen Logic, or all of these amazing Christian creators, I guess is what we'll call them. I mean, I think that's the terminology, who engage with these difficult topics all the time, but they do it so well and so lovingly, and it's needed, it's necessary. Christians, it is needed for Christians to engage online. The problem is when you engage as a Christian the first time, you're now a Christian in everybody's eyes. I know we are anyway, but when we then step out and aren't loving our neighbor, now it's just a Christian acting out, not Thomas doing something. It's captured, and now we're under a microscope with whatever we say.
And the reality is, it's like you said, we need it. We need a good presence, but that's why we need that love. Are we posting because this is an act of love and something that and you're doing it in a loving way, not that just, okay, this needs to be said. But I think that's what guides me. Like, if I can't immediately connect, like, I start shutting stuff down, start getting off. And
I want to make sure we're clear. Doing something in a loving way is the Christian definition of love, not the culture definition of love. Doing something in a loving way is truth said in, with the spirit in mind.
Right.
It's not pulling back. It's not affirming everything that everybody always thinks and says. Like, let's just make sure, like, it's said in a loving way, but like the way Christ said things in a loving way.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
And not in the condescension. And we also think about, kind of look at the other side of this. Because of the nature of social media, it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. We have it in our phones. Like, at one time we were able to, like, if we do have issues with somebody else, that can remain at school, or that can remain at, at least you can go home and have your peace. Now it's like always around. And, if you're engaging in these types of things and you're around these toxic type people, you can't get away. And it's, and I find that, like, you like, just thinking about as you're pressing enter and you're about to post something, like, what kind of effect does that have on another human being? Because I think with the digital, like, interface between us, it's almost like we're not engaging in human beings. It's just we're able to kind of abstract them, and they're just this kind of this internet, like, blog or whatever. They're just somebody with an idea or something. But because like you said earlier, we rarely would ever say anything that we would say online to criticize somebody to their face.
Right.
And I think about it even too, like, I always
without paying a price.
Yeah, and a lot of times you wouldn't do it because you just you don't want, you like, genuinely don't want to hurt their feelings,
and you're scared.
Yeah, I could be scared too.
I mean, let's just be honest. Like, most of the time, we don't do it because we are afraid of what that consequence might be.
It's one of those things that's funny too. Even just when we put ourselves in a different environment, the kind of a artificial environment. Like, say you're driving your car. There's stuff like, somebody cuts you off, and, like, or something happens, or somebody, you want, like, you're wishing the world, like, to end for that person because you're so angry.
Some people.
Yeah.
No, that's not a normal thing. Just we're clear. Road rage is not a normal thing.
But
it's crazy. Most people don't act that way, but, like, some people do road rage, and but if you road rage to their face, again, you'd get knocked out.
Because if we have this armor of this car that we can, but this,
a lot of people can relate with being upset with another driver.
Well, I just like the way he said it. He's like, "You're wishing their world." No, not everyone does that.
Sometimes we can have the.
Some people are mature.
I'm not defending road rage, but I'm saying there is that element that there are going to be those times where I don't consider myself as one who has road rage, but I can be pretty angry at times.
I'm gonna have a sub caveat: is love your neighbor even when you're in your car.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
we're
that's
gonna add to this.
But that's because if we practice hatred in one arena of our life, it is going to spill into those other
Absolutely.
areas.
Sure.
And that's why this talk, for some people, they're like, well, that's just online. And part of what we try to teach with virtue is, and this goes all the way back to the ancients, there was a concept they call the unity of the virtues, that to have one virtue is to have them all, because you can't separate them. They're not silos. It's not the case that I have a prudence over here and I have a fortitude over here and I have my temperance over here. That
But
if you're
no
gonna,
justice.
well,
You
and,
can
and
have
then
those
justice.
three, but no justice.
Well, again, to name them all.
No.
Justice over
That's
there.
what my point is. They're not silent. You're saying that come together. It's not like you can have three of them and then justice. There's just none of.
Right, because if you're
I was
gonna
on board with what you were saying.
Because if you're going to ask, if you're going to do something, and you're going to say, because I think it was even Aquinas pointed out, he's like, you have all things being equal, and you have two people, and they have all the virtues, except this one just lacks justice.
Mm-hmm.
He says, in what way can you say this person is prudent because he's not doing the right thing the right way?
Right.
How can you say that they have courage when they're not standing for what is right? So, if to grow in one virtue is, in a sense, they have to work together. And if you're going to fall away, if you're going to develop a vice, it's going to pull all of them down.
Mm.
And so this is why what we do online, how we respond online, is going to, I think, for what happens realistically, is it's cultivating more vices than it is virtue. And
Sure.
that behavior online can't really be separated. And even in my own life, I've met people who online were just nasty. And then I meet them in person, and I've got one in mind in particular. I finally met this person. I knew them through others, saw it online. And so I go in person, and I was kind of worried. And they're like the nicest person in person. But online, it's terrible. And I'm like, and this is a believer. And this is like, wow, this is bad.
Well, yeah.
This is not good. And so this is why, for those that are online and those who are on social media, and this is not an age-restricted thing, that there's plenty of grandparents
It
who
is
are on.
not an age-restricted thing.
There are plenty of grandparents who are on, and there's plenty of like teenagers who are like, yeah, I don't touch this stuff. I stay away. I'm not even bothered with it. So, but the reality is, based upon the numbers, there's a lot of people who are on social media of some form. And we've never really been taught how to handle this. We've never been given and apply our virtues to this keyboard that sits in front of us. We don't look at the keyboard and the screen and the profile pic the same way we do when we're looking at somebody eye to eye. And that's why if we're not loving somebody online, when we're online, we're not loving people. It's not a lesser thing. It's like, well, it was just a Facebook post. No, it's not. It was some vice that's come out, or you're tapping into your vices in a brand new way, ways that you could never actually do, because it goes back to, you don't just stand in a crowd and yell out necessarily what's on your mind. You can do that on social media. You can go on there and you don't even have to like make a big effort. You can just like pull out your phone and just start going at things, and people do this, and you're cultivating within your own heart the wrong kind of reaction. You're cultivating these vices, and you're going to say you love people, but you have to love them even when you can't see their faces, even when it's just the screen.
Yeah, and one of the things you just kind of brought up is, I know you're a big journaler. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You love to journal. Thomas Quackenbush, do you journal?
Not so much. I'd
Okay,
like to.
I've gone in. I do it on and off, but I know that when I'm journaling, and I do it to work through ideas and work through feelings and work through things, it helps me really kind of cement my ideas into place, and then helps me with my arguments, helps me with emotional stuff. Like, I think journaling's key. I think when you look across the board, I think it helps men and women with all kinds of aspects of their life. I think most of the people that we're talking about are trying to use these Facebook posts almost as if they're trying to journal. They don't think these things through, but they're trying to work through these intense, complex emotions by just spewing out of the mouth whatever they're feeling in that moment.
Microblogging.
Microblogging, yeah.
I think that's the term. And
Yeah, but I think that's what these these posts become.
mhm.
Is they're just like they have this feeling that they haven't thought through, and then instead of sitting on it and thinking about it and chewing on it and actually
Mhm.
showing some maturity with it, they just spew it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's worth pointing out because I have seen people, and I've done this myself, where I'm toying with an idea and I specifically go to the masses for the purpose of, hey, what's been your experience? What's your
Sure.
opinion on this?
Yeah.
So I'm also one of those who, and it's easy for us to just say social media is evil. I have seen the value. I can have plenty of good stories with connections, things that have happened. So
Well,
I
I want to
think,
make sure. I don't think I'm not. And I don't even like social media, but I'm not saying it's evil.
right.
You know, I think I think in today's environment, unfortunately, I think there's a need for it.
And it's a tool, and like all tools, we can use it well, we
Mhm.
can use it badly, but I think it's the kind of tool that lends itself to tapping into our vices. It draws us into that. The terms now, like I was this afternoon, my wife was listening to a podcast, or she was doing something with one of her like groups that she's in with homeschool, and they were just discussing like how to identify if you're doom scrolling. And even that term, that idea that we develop these habits such that we just automatically pull it out and we start scrolling. And it was this weekend we learned that there's a thing called what's she called, like the scroll thumb,
Mm-hmm.
that you can actually get carpal tunnel. Like they have
For sure.
people now who are getting carpal tunnel in their thumbs because of their scrolling habits,
Mhm.
like with their phone. So, so that is a clear indication we've not been taught how to use the tool correctly. We're overindulging.
Well, I mean, I think it's important to keep in mind that it's literally designed to not be used correctly.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, these big tech is what we're talking about. And I know that we talk about people, like there's conspiracies that surround it, but the intention behind the tool is not maybe the original idea, but the way it is designed is not to be used correctly. The way it is designed is to make you doom scroll. The way it is designed is to keep you on it as long as you can to make
'Cause they
as
want
much
to
money as they can.
They want to make money, ads and all the other things that are there.
Everything about it is so, down to the pixel, is so intricately designed to make you use it poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, it's a tool, but it's a tool in the sense that we have to, there's a diligence that has to come with being able to use it in a way that is positive and not just kind of, indulge the vices, I think is how you said it, but, not just indulge the vice, because every pixel on that screen is to get you to indulge the vice.
Mm-hmm.
Every pixel on that screen is to get you to throw temperance out the window and spend as much time there as possible. The algorithms themselves are designed for the echo chamber to let you hear the things that you engage with and that you want to hear, and that people that agree with you, and the things that get you riled up and that get you to click. Like, yes, it's a tool, but we have to keep in mind how deadly this tool can be. And it's not a deadly for other people. It's more like a suicide. Like it's designed to capture us.
And even if you, as you're scrolling, even if you just stop on something long enough, you don't even have to click it.
Right.
The algorithm is already picking up that it's caught your attention.
Yep.
So loving your neighbor, loving yourself, and maybe we can even apply it that way. Do you love yourself as you get online? Because if you indulge, if you go in these habits, you're actually being destructive to yourself.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's not just even what you're actively engaging, it's what you're doing with yourself, which there's, in a weird way, I don't know, it's a way we don't think about it. If you're going to love others, there's a sense that if you don't love yourself, you're not going to love others. That you're loving others through loving yourself. Because if you take care of yourself and you're developing these vices, or you're developing the virtues, sorry to be clear, if you're developing these virtues, then you're becoming the kind of person who is going to live well among others.
Yeah, the way you're saying it, though, this could be one of those. This is such a delicate topic to talk about. This idea of loving yourself is so delicate because it can be so self-indulgent very quickly.
It can.
So it's got to be. There's got to be some caution when we talk about that, using that terminology.
Right. So to focus it in with the other people, I think this is why, again, everything you've said it is designed in a way like a trap, but it is a tool. And again, it's also the kind of tool where whether you're a business owner or like in ministry, I mean, it's crucial. You've got to have some sort of presence. This
For
is how
sure.
people find
You
you.
have to.
There's been people with Thomas and I, actually, there was a lady down in Tasmania we got connected with who, through the social media, found us. We began ministering to her. She was in her 60s. She was a New Age guru that had come to Christ.
Oh, cool.
And again, on the island of Tasmania, where is she going to go? She had very limited options. And because of connections, she found us.
Mhm.
So, and that was a while ago. So this is examples. To be clear, it is a mixed bag. It's a treacherous terrain, but it's one that, with the guidance and prudence, self-control, these kinds of virtues, we can navigate it. And at the same time, as we deal with people, just like as people will be people-y and cause us to not like what they say, and they will show various bad qualities. We don't have to be like that. And if we're the kind of people that can traverse this terrain and engage with them properly, that makes us the kind of people. You're going to not only do this online, you're going to do this in all your relationships. You're going to be that kind of person who people can look at and know that when you speak, and I think this is what's also important, that when we offer the correctives and you're the kind of person that people know you correct with that sense of virtue, they tend to listen more.
They do.
Because if you're just the person who's like, it's almost like when you're the parent that's always yelling, your kids stop listening. They stop hearing, but there's this element when you're the parent that stops and like all of a sudden, like the kids know that there's a shift and they know, oh, we need to listen. To be that kind of person, I think that is, we don't want social media to ruin us. And I think that's just the call. I think it's just some wisdom. And I think people need to step back. And I've done this. I have to do this for myself. Step back. What am I saying? What am I doing? How am I presenting myself? And going back to just what you read, am I doing this because I love people, or am I doing this just to indulge my own anger or my own, does this just make me feel good? And that's why I've got to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is our commandment, is to love our neighbor, right? Like, so we have to do it well. I think it's also important to realize that if we as adults, 45 years old, and I have to ensure that I set up my boundaries so that I don't overindulge in Facebook or whatever. If as a 45-year-old man, I have to set up my own boundaries, I think we really have to be cognizant of setting those boundaries for our children too, because they're way more impulsive, or they should be more impulsive than the parents. Like our parents, we should have some self-control, but they're way more impulsive, and they're far less mature as to be able to handle these things and understand right place, right time, wrong place, wrong time. So my last question is, what is, in 30 seconds, if we use it well, what can we accomplish?
Well, I think we can, lovingly correct false information.
Okay, so we can correct bad ideas, false information. I like that, if we do it in the right way.
And on the other side, just promoting the good ideas, to be the kind of place where when they've gone to like our site, our page, whatever it is, oh, I didn't know that. They've learned something good, or we've shared a resource, the kind of thing that somebody shared with me, and I was like, I needed that. That was exactly what I was looking for, to be a blessing to other people.
To be an encouragement.
Yeah. To be an encouragement, to have a voice which is positive, which is very rare out there, especially positive for Christ. I think people are starting to see a lot of Christians as just completely naysayers, and it's not really what it. I mean, truth needs to be told, but when we couple that with the positive message of the gospel, I mean, we can affect many lives as Christians online, as long as we're careful. Well, gentlemen, appreciate the conversation as always. You can find us at familiesofvirtue.com. Our podcast, Virtuous Roots, can be found on all major streaming platforms. Be blessed, and we will talk to you next time.